Hoodie and the bathroom day, folks.
Hoodie in the bathroom, not to be confused with Hootie and the Blowfish.
New band.
Hoodie in the bathroom.
New band. Neil's starting it.
Yeah,
hello,
Hoodie in the
everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Always Almost There, Day After Show Live. We are here today to talk about last night in St. Louis, night 2 of 2, attended by a very illustrious guest. The band just put up a picture on Instagram a few minutes ago of Cotter, Peter, and Jeff with Fishman from last night, which is pretty funny that he was there in St. Louis of all places.
I was reading, and I don't know if this is rumor or not because nothing on Twitter can be believed these days, but that's something about like Fish practicing nearby. Is that true or
No,
is that false?
I think someone mentioned that Fishman has a kid who works for Gateway, which is based in St. Louis. So something to do with that. But I don't think Fish is practicing in St. Louis right now. Their tour is like 6 weeks away. But this is a Goose podcast. We're here to talk about Goose. We're here to talk about last night's show. We've got an intern in the chat. Hi, Josh. But we are joined by a very special guest today, a good friend of yours and mine and lots of other people, the one and only hardest working musician maybe ever. I don't know. Mike Morosky is here reporting live from Indiana.
Yeah.
James Brown has nothing on him.
No, nothing.
How are you guys?
Doing fantastic. How are you?
Good. Real quick before we get started, I don't want to interrupt, but Fishman was in St. Louis because he heard I was there, and he wanted to collaborate. Right. He heard Jam Band Jovi's EP, and he wanted in. So he's thinking about doing something different.
Was it Free Dirt or Fool's Errand that got him?
Oh, the fact you know 2 names of songs I've written makes me blush.
I played a gig with you once. I know the names of your songs.
You did, and we kicked ass, and we'll do it again, and we'll hopefully be able to say something soonish. I don't know.
Anyway, let's get started here.
Juicy stuff on the pod. 2 minutes and 15 seconds in. Here we go. Yeah. All
right. Sorry. Go ahead. I actually am getting ready to go to a gig. I'm not trying to look cool. I'm loading shit in the back of my car. I think it looks cool. I don't know, but I'm not trying to. So
definitely
keep going.
The pods are fun now. Thank you, Adam, for mentioning that.
I've always found so much fun.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about yesterday. What happened. Going into night 2 after night 1. You were with a group of our good friends who we saw on the pod yesterday. But how are you feeling going into night 2 of the pod, or of the pod? Night 2 of St. Louis.
Well, I hope night 2 of the stay awake. Last night, listen, you guys. Let me know. I'm getting in my car, so let me know if I cut out. Can you hear me?
You're doing all right so far.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, good. Yesterday I woke up with a head full of steam and had a couple light beers and went to Topgolf and ate cheese dip and salad, and I put on the pod and listened to my interns that I ended up unionizing later that day, and I ended up passing out. I woke up at like 5:30, like where the hell what's okay. So, but the vibes were great because, Ryan, I know you saw, and Neil, you probably did too on Twitter. I am firmly a set 2 green, purple, blue light guy. Down with disease opener, get as weird as you can, as early as you can. So the first night, set 1, it was weird to me that set 1 was the champion. It's rare that happens. And so I knew set 2 last night would be great. And so I was kind of in that zone, and I don't want to jump ahead, but obviously, at least for me, out of the 4 sets, that ended up being the case. So it was great.
Amazing. Where did you end up for the show last night? Where were you situated?
So I'm always a back of the floor guy, but at this place, and I don't remember if the interns got to it yesterday because I fell asleep because they were so exciting. But there's this like interesting it's called VIPGA. So it's on the floor, but it's like up a couple feet, and you have your own bar. And so the first night I kept sneaking in there and nobody said anything. And I was so kind. I try to be a kind person, as you know, that the security people actually came and gave me a wristband. At one point they go, "Are you supposed to be here?" And I said, "No, I'm not." But they brought me left, and they came back and they go, give me your hand, and I was like, oh, that's so sweet. Then the second night, Haps, we did the 21st century. What year is it? 20? I don't know. Anyway, the Stub Me Down version of what we used to do back in the 90s. Yeah, and Haps just texted me, his thing, and I got a cheat wristband. So we stayed back there, had our bro fest, and I'm sure people are sick of seeing it. But that's where we were.
Everybody loves bro fests. That's what we know.
The folks were tuning in for it yesterday. Yeah,
it's true.
It's a lot of
that's like the pinnacle of Brofest was yesterday's pod. And if anybody who's watching or listening now didn't see yesterday's pod, you should go check out yesterday's pod. It's really like
bro hugs, synchronized beer chugging, high fives, all kinds of shit. I mean, it was bananas.
Dude. Calls were coming in. There was a lot going on.
It was like
calls were coming in.
It was like head OnlyFans or something. It was wonderful.
Oh God. All right. Well, let's dive into the show here. Really excited going into top 5 pod of all time yesterday. So let's dive into the show here. Let's start off with the first half of the first set. Atlas Dogs, Turbulence, Earthling. Pretty standard fare to open. You get your nice that classic Goose move of playing 2 openers in a row. In the first set. Mike, how are you feeling these first 3 songs?
It was great. I like the standard, thing. Not to harken back to the 90s. Like 99 when my buddy would get all righteous. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back.
Oh, no. All right. Let me get out of where I'm at. So can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Yep, we're with you.
All right, good.
That improved.
I'm fine with the standard stuff. Yeah, it's good. See, I'm getting out of here. I got to go to the brewery and get some dinner. So Ryan texted me a few minutes ago. He goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "I'm figuring out what I'm going to play tonight." And so anyway, so if you'll pardon me, I will keep speaking, but I'm going to drive a little bit. So I'm fine with the standard stuff. To harken back to the 90s, and my buddy I used to tour with, a guy named Brad. I love him to death. We saw I don't know how many shows together with Fish, but he used to get like righteously pissed off when they'd play Character Zero to close the first set, to the point that he'd leave. And I'm like, well, then stop paying so much money to go to these shows, man. If you don't want to hear that. I like it. I like that. Let's go. Let's get after it. Turbulence, the best Billy Joel song Billy Joel never wrote. I'm all about it. And Earthling is always fun. And I can't get enough of Trevor as a guy who grew up playing bass guitar and piano. And Trevor, you guys have heard me be obnoxious about it and the Matt Cameron effect, but I absolutely believe it. And we're not there yet. We'll see what it'll become, but the Cotter Ellis just sort of like pushing and whatever he's given to Trevor in songs like Earthling and some of the shit he did the first night is so great. So I was dancing, having fun. It was great.
Yeah, I thought they really brought down Turbulence really nicely at the beginning of the jam as well. A little quieter than they normally get with it. But also the Atlas Dogs, I was disappointed that it didn't jam after the cap. I was hoping we'd get a little more of a return to consistency. Well, it remains to be seen, whether it'll be on and off or the cap was a one-off. Hopefully, the next time we see Atlas Dogs, it does jam. But then Earthling, you mentioned Trevor, but also what Peter was doing on the OB6 synth during this Earthling jam was spectacular. Really, really packed a lot of amazing stuff in relatively short 12, 13 minutes. But pretty good. Neil, you got any thoughts on this opening trio of songs?
Atlas Dogs, Turbulence. I mean, we've seen it. I don't know how many times we've seen it, but that pairing has happened.
Let's see.
At least twice that I can think of it, maybe 3. So there's only so many times I can talk about Atlas Dogs, Turbulence.
It actually has gone Turbulence, Atlas Dogs twice, and Atlas Dogs, Turbulence once before.
Sweet. And you get balloons for that fact. So, man, it is what it is. And then Earthling or Alien, like abbreviated version, I guess, at 13 and a half minutes or so. And I mean, it was okay. I don't really have much to say beyond that.
Yeah, it was good. Anyway, we move on for the first set. Mike, I know you have a lot to say here, as long as your audio is working. It Burns Within, Tumble, Rockdale. Finish out the first set.
Yeah. Well, it was my first Burns Within. I'm gonna stop this. And I'm gonna stop at the stop sign. So I'm in this super teeny town. Like the fastest I can go is like 10 miles an hour. So I'm gonna stop at the stop sign. I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna let you guys talk, and then I'm gonna drive another 10 feet to this brewery to eat dinner and have beer, and I'll have good Wi-Fi. So
perfect.
The Burns Within was super special for a whole lot of reasons. Being with Haps, I know how much that song means to him. So that was another nice, a really nice kind of personal moment. Sharing a moment with another old guy like Haps and Neil, and being like, how the hell did some like kid in there? Sorry, Neil. How did this kid in his early 20s, this unmarried kid with no children, write this damn song?
You're right.
How did this guy? I hate this guy. I hate this guy. He was 22, however old he was, no children, no wife. So that was really beautiful and a lot of fun. And I think both Tumble's still one of my favorites for a whole host of reasons. And it was the first song I saw at my first Goose show, which was cool too. And then Rockdale's, just always fun. And so during Rockdale, I left my people and went up to get with my W-TED people who were up top, Michael Basty and Corey and Simeon, and went up there and hung out with those guys for Rockdale, and then chilled with them for the set break. But yeah, it was super standard. It was, it was a lot of fun. It kept me energetic. I was ready to go. I was excited for the second set. In my head, as I already said, I already built up that the night 2, set 2 was going to be the set. And I think I was right, at least for me. I listened to it today a couple times on the drive up to this little teeny town I'm in. And so it was great. I mean, the first night, set 1, to me, not just Born, the whole thing was very cool. And Mr. Action, like the interns said yesterday, it's a ripper. It was cool too. But the first set was a good, let's get going. You just woke up from your nap because Josh and Haps put you to sleep because of their bullshit, and now you're awake. And now let's get ready. Now go hang out with Basty and have a real conversation. Because
a lot of intern slander.
Yeah,
on the pod.
Slander on the interns.
No. I've organized it. But no, it was a fun first set.
Yeah, absolutely. Neil, do you have any thoughts?
Oh yeah, Tumble. This is a heck of a tumble. So far, it just seems like Tumble is not going to be like a standard thing this year, and it's going to have like a little bit of a bliss jam in it. You might have like multiple sections, and whatever we're doing here with Tumble, I like it.
Yeah,
I thought this one was pretty hot. I don't know. I've heard some hype about this Tumble. Like this Tumble is like incredible. Some people are saying this Tumble's better than the Cap. I heard that being said earlier. I don't know if I agree with that yet, but I've only given it one listen, to be honest.
So yeah, here's my thought on this Tumble that I've now listened to 3 times.
Okay.
I've gone back to the big jams from this show a lot today already. Trying to figure shit out. But I thought this Tumble was pretty incredible. They come into the jam. There's a little bit of a hiccup where they're offbeat. Like Cotter did like a little extra fill going into the jam. And so he and Trevor kind of ended up a little bit out of sync. But incredible slap work from Trevor early on. Year of Big T continues. But
part 3.
Listen, we're further
third year in a row. The year of Big T.
No, we're further into the year of Big T than we made it last year. Like by this point in the year of Big T was already basically over.
Yeah, true. Fair.
So, it's June. Year of Big T's just getting started. We're taking off. I think Mike has found some internet. But I love the way that, again, second or third version of Tumble now, where they haven't done that B flat modulation that they did in every previous Tumble. That's like, now we're going to jam this out. I love that because I feel like they're just finding a new way to approach the improvisation of the song, and feels, less of like all right, and here's the cue for that, right? Because like before, like 2022, 2023, you're playing a Tumble. If you're still in that initial funk zone, I feel like the band in their heads weren't like pushing the envelope on it. Like, we're going to hit this funk zone. We're going to have a good time until Rick hits that B flat chord. Now it's all bets are off, right? Now, as soon as the jam starts, the jam is off. And I love the way they slid into this bliss jam that we got in this tumble last night. I thought it was absolutely glorious. Just like sustained peaking, energy did not abate for a second. And then, they hit that final peak and Rick just cleanly leads them back into the ending of tumble. I just thought it was a really amazing example of them like locking in all as a group, and an incredible peak. Now, obviously, we're still early on in the year. Jams like this could become more commonplace, and which would cause this jam to, drop down my rankings a little. But as of right now, I have it ahead of the cap. I think it's a better example. I think it's a better example of full band jamming than the cap one is, which I still love the cap tumble. But I just think it's more consistently engaging throughout instead of the cap one, which kind of relies very heavily on that middle bliss section.
So this is me being surprised because you held that cap tumble in such high regard.
Yes.
So
I love the cap tumble.
Okay. So nothing's changed. It's just this one's that good.
And I did lower the cap one a little bit in my rankings as well. The things are changing. The more I listen, the more I think about it. But yeah, Mike's tasting beer out here live on the pod. Mike, can you give us a little insight?
This one, I like this one better.
What is
the second
it?
one?
What are you drinking?
I don't know. I'm at this really cool place. What's the name of this place? Copacetic. And Kyle hangs out here a lot. The guy I'm playing with tonight. So I need to go out and get them some Jam Band Jovi stuff that own this place. But it's a cool little spot. See, where
good for a pod.
Cool pod. Yeah, it's a cool spot. Good place for a pod.
And yeah, before we run into set 2 here, I just want to say on the Rockdale, I'm looking for a Rockdale more in the vein of what we heard in the sound check at Soulshine. Getting a little bit, opening it up improvisationally again. Someone mentioned on Twitter last night that we haven't really had an improvisationally significant Rockdale since the Ryman last year, which is a long time. Unless I'm forgetting one. Am I forgetting?
No, I thought the cap one was great. It just wasn't long. It's like a little bit of like the Heartbreaker-esque jam in there, and the cap Rockdale.
Okay, all right. I'll give you that.
I mean, we did this yesterday, so we're not going to do it again today. But like a 14-minute jam is still a jam.
We do fight.
It doesn't have to be 25 minutes.
I know.
But in any case, yeah. But you're right. In terms of like length, yes.
I just meant in terms of like venturing outside of a standard Rockdale jam. It's still, I was still dancing. I still love, because it's Rockdale. Like it's still a great
Rockdale. Not to harken back to the 90s, the latter part of the 20th century, but Rockdale is very much, it reminds me of Character Zero in a lot of ways. It's obvious that Rick likes to play it. Trey really likes to play Character Zero. And, people used to get righteously pissed about that and be like, what fucking care? Oh, sorry. I don't know if I'm not, but
do it.
Their songs. Let's go. Like, he wants to play it, whatever. Like, it makes him comfortable. It's a nice way to end. Loving Cup, Rockdale, Character Zero, pick your poison. And I'm not looking for anything but Rockdale except to go, bam. Rockdale, bam. That's all I want to do.
It's a fun song.
It's reasonable. It's a good one to sing along to.
It could be 3 minutes long. Yeah.
Yeah, right. You don't even need the jam. Yeah. But the jam is nice.
Yeah, it's a first set closer. We're done.
All right. Let's dive into set 2 here. And let's talk about this Thatch. I want to talk about this Thatch. Mike, what are your thoughts on this Thatch?
So me and Danny and Haps were back there going nutso, because we all are very fond of the evil stuff. And I remember looking at Haps saying, man, this is, because I am a through and through a second set guy. I love when bands come out the second set and just get right after it. There's no messing around. Like, I like they come out and like the first night, y'all talked about this yesterday. Come out, do a little teaser, and then get into it. I like when Fish would come out with a 45-minute Down with Disease or something crazy. My first show in 95, the third set, on Halloween 95, they came out with that 45-minute tweezer. It's the whole side of a Maxell XL2. I love that. Come out. Maybe that's where it stems from. I don't know. But come out and just get me. And I like the evil stuff, as y'all know. I got a heavy metal side to me. And so I looked at Danny and Haps, and I said, I bet they're going to close with Madhuban. Or just keep this going. Keep this evil stuff going. They didn't, and that's cool. Tomorrow, I've never seen the Tomorrow Never Knows, which is great. But they kept it going, and then the Redbird, as predictable as it was really great. And as you know, it's not a love-hate, it's a love-love relationship. But when Redbird starts, every time I'm like, oh, it's Redbird. And then like 3 seconds later, I'm like, all right, it's Redbird.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So, but and then Creatures is my favorite Goose song for a lot of reasons. I've seen it many times, and every time, my favorite time was at Legend Valley in 22 on my 44th birthday, I guess, sitting in a hammock in that weird little place. But yeah, that's a special song for me. And so, you know, that 1-2 punch was neat.
I wonder if mentioning the Legend Valley creatures like summons Vickers. Like I
Yeah,
wonder if
Vickers is going to appear. I was going to say
yeah,
the
here in
same
the
thing.
chat.
Hey, real
Amazing.
quick,
I didn't know you were there for that.
Is this something only nerds like you would care about?
Yes.
Fun fact.
I love that.
I hate the song Knights in White Satin. I hate it. And in 2022, at my son's first Goose show at Legend Valley, Goose covered Knights in White Satin
You're allowed to
on my
curse on the
44th
pod.
birthday. Okay, good. And then the next year on my 45th birthday, the same day, June 10th, which is this coming Monday, so another birthday, no concert this year. The very next year, my second favorite touring act, Billy Strings, in Indiana, covered fucking Knights in White Satin on my birthday. 2 years in a row. I despise the song.
Well, good
My
thing you're not
two
seeing a show
favorite
this year.
bands that I spend way. I don't know what it is.
That LV22 version though is
Anyway.
sick. Really good. I was there.
So I need to, but I like when they do it. I love when bands I love can take songs I don't even like, and like and Billy and Goose's are very different,
Right.
Yes.
but they're both much better than the crappy original.
There you go. That's
Fair.
what matters. All right, let's talk about this Thatch. I want to talk about this Thatch. This is an absolutely incredible jam. It is like 15 minutes long. And you know, Danny last night during the show made you know, the San Francisco Wisteria parallel just in terms of the efficiency. You know, getting it done. You know, getting a lot done in a very short amount of time. You know, this Hasty is number 2 on my playlist right now, behind the Cap Drive, which is incredibly hasty. But my reasoning behind that is I A-B'd it with the Cap Pancakes, and I was like, I like Thatch more. And Cap Pancakes was my previous number 2.
Huh.
I like it just builds tension in such a way that we have not heard from Goose very much. And yeah, like it could have kept going, but this is them like really venturing into that territory for kind of the first time. Like we've seen pockets of it before, but this is the first time that we've seen a jam kind of build like that. And I think that's a lot of due to how Cotter allows them to build tension like that. You know, the word fugue has been used a lot, but it blew my mind last night, blew my mind the many times I've listened back today. You know, what do you think?
I think it's hot. I think I like how you pointed out Cotter's drumming in this. One of the things that like I've been watching all the interviews and stuff. I want to know more about this guy. I've learned that, you know, his main influence as he sees it is John Bonham, which is interesting because when you listen to this this Thatch, that's relevant in this discussion. Also, when he was younger, he had like roots of like playing like pop punk and just like really like driving music. And when I listen to this Thatch, I immediately thought of those two things. And I mean, it's a different approach. And we've had like this Thatch reminds me kind of a lot of the Bonner Thatch from last year.
Definitely.
Doesn't really do kind of quite the sweeping searchlight kind of jam that this one does. But it's like super dissonant and goes to like a lot of weird places. I don't know. It lacks cohesiveness. I'll say that. Like it's a lot of all over the place.
I thought it felt cohesive.
Interesting. Like I've listened to it twice now, and it didn't ever really feel like it got the cohesiveness that like Bonner did, for example. But like, man, it is good, and it's good because it's different. The second day in a row, we're talking about like, oh, there's not really many you can compare this to. I can think of one or two from maybe last year or something, but this one, you know, the approach on the drums is just different, right? Yep. And it's not a funk jam anymore. It's something more than that. It's dark and it's it's just rock and roll, dude. I
That's
I don't know
why
how else to say it. It's
Matt
just
Cameron.
John Bonham shit. Like
Matt Cameron.
so.
I want to
Oh,
talk
also,
about Matt. I want to talk about Pearl Jam at some point. I can go for hours. I have to. I
We
have
couldn't
to.
not, could we?
If
Yeah.
I'm here, I have to.
could be here for a
That is-
long
that is
time.
I
fair.
can make my case 2 minutes.
Also, the
Brian doesn't care.
your point about the comparison to the Bonner Thatch is really good because I thought of that last night while it was happening. I was like, this is kind of heading in the same direction. You have that like dark undertone, Peter on the marimba piano, and Rick kind of heading in this dark direction. And while Bonner, then goes on to just like pick up speed and intensity for 20 minutes, this one goes into this fugue like incredibly evil build, which is completely different, right? And again, similar to what I said about the tumble in the first set, we are still so early on in the year. Jams like this could become commonplace, and this Thatch might end up much lower on my playlist by the end of the year. But as of right now, I think this is one of the best things that they've done all year so far. And just because it's different, because I feel as though it's very cohesive, and it's just like, it's evil. It's good. Anyway,
the creatures was not only different too. The arrangement was different. When they got to that point of this moment's the only thing you know, right? Not to skip ahead, but like they stretched that part out right there.
Yeah,
that was kind of cool too. I thought the dramatic effect of that.
Yeah, that was a great addition at the cap for sure when they added that extra space out. It was funny. Danny texted the group chat last night. He was like, "Oh, what's this?" And we were like, the webcast is like a minute behind, and I knew like what he was talking about. We weren't even there yet. I was like, they did that at the cap. Like,
yeah, you were there. We were standing next to each other. For
we were all like, "What's going on?"
You stop eating things you find in the forest. No, he was with us pretty much the second set. Me and Danny and Abs.
Well, let's Creatures, second version of the year to kind of be like mid-set to like energy boost. 13, 14 minutes, which I said last night. I love that for this song. There were a lot of times last year where they like pushed it to like 18, 20 minutes, and it was just like a nice peaky jam for that long. And I think this song is much better as like kind of a keep the energy high, give Peter a little vibe, but then space it out, go into the next song if it's not gonna, if the improv isn't gonna take hold and go somewhere else. Neil, I'm curious your thoughts on Creatures as like a more of a mid-set, bridge to between jam vehicles as opposed to a big one itself.
Oh, like set 2 opener, which like historically has been like forever.
Yeah, or just being 13, 14 minutes instead of 18 to 20 every time.
Yeah, like it doesn't have to be an anchor. I love it. Like I loved it at the cap. I said that before, and I loved it in here too. It doesn't have to be anything more than what it is.
Yep.
And it is, like Mike said, it's a good song. When I first started listening,
the lyrics are awesome.
Yeah. When I first started listening to this band, like way, like in 2019, like I think of like Resonance Creatures, and like I don't know, like I just like the song, and it doesn't have to be much more than the song, because it's a banger, and it doesn't need to be a jam vehicle. It doesn't need to be anchor of a set. It just can be in there. Okay. So, on your thought, like yes, I dig it. It is good.
I agree. Then we move into this Redbird. This is a hell of a bird. You get a more amazing full band interplay, and kind of this one has more of like a gradual ramp up. And it's interesting to me because this ending kind of, that Blissy segment is really the star. Again, Trevor sticking out once again. I thought it was interesting because Trevor was playing this chord progression, but the rest of the band kind of wasn't latching on to the whole thing, which I thought was really interesting. And kind of, I still haven't decided whether that's cool or it detracts from the jam a little bit. Mike, what do you think?
It's loud. Sorry. So today when I was re-listening to it, so live, again, as a guy who grew up playing piano and bass guitar, which is why I'm such an excellent rhythm guitar player, I must say. But I was like totally into it. And today when I was listening to it on the mix, And I am not one. I'm not casting stones, please. I am not as talented as any of these men. I'm better at golf, and I wish they would have told me they were at Top Golf because I would have beaten their asses. That's like the one thing I'm better at than all 5 of those guys. Anyway,
I
have
saw
a
Cutter
hole in
swing. It
one.
looks like shit.
I
It's
have a
not
hole in
good.
one on the Ocean Course, the PGA Championship Ocean Course. Hole in one, Mike Morosky. Those clowns do not. Anyway, I was dancing, having fun, but when I listened to it today, it was so loud in the mix. And I don't know if it was the mix or if it was that loud last night and I didn't care because I had the same force materials that Danny had or what. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I don't know if I love it. I think I do because like in the back to the 90s, the 97, that Amsterdam shit, 98 was it was cool, but it was a little weird. It's kind of like 2024 Goose maybe. I don't know. But 99 Fish was bananas. And Mike Gordon was fucking lame. I'm biased because I saw every show that year. So full disclosure, almost always there. But it was a lot of shows and it was great. And I was in college and I didn't miss one class. Yeah, go do the math on that. Crazy.
Wow.
Thank you. So I have my diploma and my master's degrees in my office and all my fish tickets. That's my other diploma.
That's awesome.
Anyway, thank you. I knew you guys would appreciate that.
Yeah.
But like Mike Gordon in 99. Oh, there's that again. Mike was leading the shit, and I don't know if that's where we're headed. I'm going to mute.
Neil, talk about the
I don't
Redbird.
even know what
we're talking about the Redbird.
I was going to say, I saw some shit in 99, so like we can go down that road if you want to.
That's wrong podcast.
Wrong podcast. Bird. So only have a couple listens on this one. You know, this is one of those jams where it's you look at it and you look at the track timing and it's like 25 minutes. And you're like, holy crap, like this has got to be huge. What is it, 23, 25? I don't know.
23 or so.
And I listened to it and it felt fast. It felt much shorter than that. You know, sometimes there are jams that feel super short and you're like, oh, that had to be like 25 minutes, 30 minutes. This one, it's like the other way. I thought it was like a 15-minute jam. There were a couple cool spots in this that I thought were really awesome, though. The piano sounds, I don't know if you already touched on this, Ryan, yet, but the piano sound in this Redbird was that kind of, you know, he's got like a couple different piano sounds on the Nord there. I don't know what exactly he did to achieve this sound. It was kind of that fuller, richer piano that he uses, but it had I don't know, it was one, quiet, very quiet in the mix, and two, just, I don't know, spacious, almost like it was being played in a large cave or a cavern.
Yeah, there was
I can't really explain it.
There was some real patience and commitment to quieter dynamics in this.
Yeah, no, I don't know exactly what it was, but it sounded really good to me. So if you listen to it in the mix, you mostly hear Rick, because Rick's soloing is much louder, but I loved the stuff that he was doing on the piano underneath it.
Yeah,
that was my favorite part of that jam.
Awesome. Yeah, it was spectacular. And then the segue into Tomorrow Never Knows. I mean, that was amazing. This is kind of a rarity for Goose. This is the longest version of the song they've ever played. For those who care about that sort of thing, just over 15 minutes. But, this is pretty rare. Like, it was only played twice last year. Salt Shed and then in Cologne. And with Bobby. The slowest version that's ever been played. But this version was amazing because instead of, previously we get these like 7-8 minute versions, you come out of a jam, you're getting all psychedelic and Tomorrow Never Knows. And then, you get like a little bit of spacey exploration and then it kind of winds down. But in this case, they just ramped it right up into like massive, massive peak, which was so cool. What was that like in the room, Mike?
Yeah, man, it was rad. And again, personal bias disclosure, growing up on the Beatles and bluegrass music, and then discovering recreational drugs and Nirvana in the 90s. This is what you get, I guess.
Drugs?
Well, no, not like, good ones. But man, I love that tune. And it's not a tune a lot of folks play. My band plays a ballad of John and Yoko. We always get comments on that. Because you're like, man, no one plays that. I'm like, yeah, it was the B-side of Old Brown Shoe. You're like, what? I'm like, yeah, right? Nobody even remembers the A-side.
Yeah.
My point is, I really love the Beatles. And people who don't, and people who talk shit on the Beatles and say they're overrated, I don't trust those people. I don't care if you say you don't like the Beatles, but if you say they're overrated or anything else, I don't trust you, and your opinion on music means nothing to me. Anyway, we'll
That's
continue.
reasonable.
You can say you don't like them, that's fine. But those guys, from the recording to the, I'll stop.
I want to hear Neil's.
So that was
Beatles
cool.
opinions.
Them and Pink Floyd, man. The shit those guys did with a 4-track recorder. My little weird band has like a 72-track recorder, and our records like suck. They did Abbey Road, Dark Side of the Moon with 4 tracks. Anyway, I was really excited. And the night before, I wasn't here with the interns because I'm serious, even though I'm their union rep. But they are, they are what they are. And I apologize, but they deserve their rights. The night before, Please Forgive Me. So the 3 covers I saw, Please Forgive Me, not to go down this route, but my brother Jason, both the whole deal, whatever. When that record came out, White Ladder, in 2002 or whatever, that David Gray record, I don't know how many times me and Jason and I could play every single song on that record. And we saw This Year's Love together at that New Year's show in 22 in Cincinnati. I thought that was enough for the Waterworks. And he was alive, right? And we were there. And when he did Please Forgive Me the first night, I was like, okay, well. And then they did Tomorrow Never Knows. And then the Don't Do It. And Don't Do It's an easy kind of throwaway rocker, like a Loving Cup. That's my opinion. But the band, to me, also, for the 3 covers I saw, and I've never seen any of those. So it was cool for me, and it was jammed out, man. It was cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
and the Don't Do It encore, my only complaint is that Cotter didn't sing. But, we'll get there. Neil, you have any thoughts on Tomorrow Never Knows and Don't Do It here?
I mean, Tomorrow Never Knows is getting a lot of hype. I mean, I listened to it, and it sounded to me like the Welcome to Delta jam that comes in Indian River. And not even a little. Some people are saying, like, it's a little bit. Peter was definitely playing it, right? Do we agree on that part?
Yeah. Oh,
and then
Goose.net says he was playing it.
Okay, yeah, I didn't look at lgoose.net yet. Oh, actually, no, I'm just kidding. I totally did, because I pasted it in the chat. What was I going to say? Yeah, I mean, it kind of took off like a Welcome to Delta Jam. I wonder if it would have been received the same way if it was Indian River that was played as opposed to
it felt
Tomorrow Never
different,
Knows.
though.
But did it feel different? I mean, I've only listened to that once. I haven't gone back to it.
Yeah,
so maybe I should go back and listen to it again. I didn't listen to it last night. These shows right now are like going past my bedtime. I'm going full Vickers. Last night I went full Vickers, and like just Nunnite right after It Burns Within. Man, I just
what do you mean?
Right on the pillow.
Full Vickers is going to bed before the show starts, unintentionally, and then waking up after the show ends and being like, "Wait, what happened?"
That's Murawski.
Yeah,
Vickers did that on Tuesday. Anyway,
so for Vickers, sorry, I'm interrupting and I apologize. So I texted my wife the first night. I was staying right next to the venue, and it's a weird little, like, fucking strip mall that's not developed yet. And it was wonderful. The venue was wonderful. It was kind of, built for music like the Brady in Cincinnati, except not nearly as cool. And I don't say that's not biased. It was a cool venue. It's nice. But, like, they built this, like, outlet mall and decided they didn't want an outlet mall. So there's nothing in it. Like, you pull in and you could see Applebee's, Chili's, whatever, which would suck, but it would at least be something. I was a half-mile away in the same damn parking lot at a hotel, walked by nothing except the House of Pain gym to get to the factory and this cool brewery. Anyway, long way of saying I could get home right away. So I left the first night before Please Forgive Me and was listening on the way home. And then I got to listen to Please Forgive Me in the shower while I cried, naked, crying.
not bad.
And I texted Katie and I said, this is for Vickers.
Imagery.
I texted, I was totally naked. That'll be the next pod. I texted my wife and I said, the new Leaving Before the Encore is leaving before the encore and getting in the fucking shower to listen to the encore. That's the new Leaving Before the Encore.
We know Neil.
That's
we
my
know
new
Neil
bar.
loves. We know Neil loves being in the shower. So maybe he'll try that out.
I'm a shower guy.
You're
I am a
Neil,
shower guy.
You and me.
Mike, thank you so much for being on the pod today. It's been a pleasure.
I love you guys. No, yeah, thank you.
We love you. We love you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on Last Minute.
No problem.
It's been a pleasure. Enjoy your gigs.
We'll do it.
Have a lot of fun. If you're in the middle of Indiana this weekend, go see Mike play.
I'm in the middle. No, I don't know where I am, Ryan. I don't.
Well, that's
sure.
for other people to figure out.
I'm okay. Katie knows where I am.
There you go. Your wife knows where you are.
I got to say, I'm shocked that like they're into your kind of people in rural Indiana, but like I'm glad you found the one town that would be like.
Dan Manjovi can play any room, Neil. Look, everyone likes to have fun, baby.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Well, everybody, we will be back on Saturday to recap tomorrow night's show at Fiddler's Green, which I am so excited about. Rumor has it that the Jive Goose may be making an appearance if he can squeeze the pod in around his pickleball games. So stay tuned to find out.
It's not even a joke. It's true.
No, I'm 100% serious. He has a very, very tight pickleball schedule this weekend. Comes into the city. He's got games. There's a lot going on. So hopefully we see him. But it's going to be a great weekend here in Colorado. All of us together, except for Neil, because he's
Thank you.
Anyway, thank you everybody for tuning into this day after show. Mike's going to enjoy his wings now, and we are going to go enjoy the rest of our days. We'll see you guys on Saturday. Thank you.